Good evening, and welcome to the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland's work session on Wednesday, May 6, 2026 at 6 p.m. Our first agenda item is a bid recommendation for Microsoft Data Governance Implementation. Our presenter is Director Cornwell Shear from the Department of Information and Technology. You have the floor.
Good evening, Council President and Mayor and Council members. Before you is a bid recommendation for the implementation of Microsoft's data governance platform, Microsoft Purview, and the various features that it provides. This project is part of our sub-grant from the DHS-funded FY 2023 State and Local Cybersecurity Grant Program through the state of Maryland. We were awarded this particular grant in August of last year, and it covers $300,000 toward this program, which was based on an early estimate that we received from one of our partners. In order to fulfill the terms of this grant, we had to do a standard open RFP. So we posted this on our website, and from there it was sent to several government bidding platforms. And we received over the course of a month and several rounds of clarifying questions, 10 total submissions from all over the U.S. And largely they fit in a subset of price ranges between about $200,000 to $300,000. The proposals that we received, I can go through the list of them if you'd like. They are in the memo. We received a $99,640 bid from ConsultAd Public Services, $225,905 from Blue Ally, $237,000 from Golden 5 LLC, $249,290 from Agria Solutions, $270,038.96 from Data Meeting, $274,500 from Kiefer Consulting, $289,380 from ePlus Incorporated, $292,500 from Ironclad Government Services, $294,400 from Dopey LLC, and $296,000 from Intellectix Incorporated. Through a fairly long decision-making process internal to our team, we reviewed all sorts of criteria about these applications, going from their experience and qualifications, their prior work in the area, and how applicable that prior work was, to their approach and methodology, how well that fits the Maryland best practices for cybersecurity, as well as our own policies and procedures, how well their proposed timeline aligns with our schedule, and how well it aligns with the schedule requirements of the grant program, for which the funds have to be fully spent by September of 2027. How well the vendor identified mitigations for potential issues with the process, and how comprehensive their training program and their description of their training program was, and how clearly they outlined how they would do ongoing assessments. Additionally, we looked at the pricing, and notably, the pricing for all of these, well, for most of them, was based on an hourly rate. It was set either as a set price, which was left up to the vendor. It was either a set price locked in from the beginning, or it was an hourly rate with a maximum price. So the prices that are listed before you are a mix of maximum prices and a fixed rate, a fixed final price. After our significant review of these proposals, we decided on Kiefer Consulting of Folsom, California, based on the strength and depth of their technical proposal and the expertise that they've shown through very similar implementations in other municipalities, primarily in California. And their financial competitiveness fit within the bounds of what we expected for this proposal. This project is entirely funded by this grant, so no City of Laurel monies go into it, and this was allocated because of that grant in the FY26 CIP. The maximum all-inclusive cost of the project is, as proposed, $274,500. That is subject to going lower but not higher, per the terms of the proposal. And the recommended vendor is Kiefer Consulting of Folsom, California. And yeah, I'm open to any questions.
Any comments or questions from the council on this? No. Hearing none. The council agrees we'll move this to the Monday regular meeting at May 11th, 2026, 6 p.m.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, now to the meat. We have ordinance number 2055, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland, adopting the general operating budget and capital improvement program of the Mayor and City Council of Laurel, Maryland for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, and to levy property taxes and to authorize the collection of such taxes. We were unable to get through the Revenues Department expenditures and non-departmental items such as insurance, budgets, training, tuition, and work session on Monday. So tonight we'll finish up the presentations with Director Saylor presenting the capital improvement program information for FY 2027. So, Director Saylor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mayor Sidnor, and council members. So before you, in the document that that is on our city website and that has been shared with you, can you see my screen yet?
No, not yet, Michelle.
Not yet, Michelle. Okay, we can see it.
Okay, so I just wanted to start, as you all know, the capital projects don't fit nice and neat into a fiscal year. So as part of the budget process, we put before you the project balances, the funding that is currently in place that has been approved through budget ordinances or amendments. So in the budget process, we need you to reauthorize the funding so that the projects can continue and conclude. So we have special projects, which includes information technology, facility surveys, the record archiving, digital processing, the safety action plan that Public Works is working on. So those special projects total $10,715,269. Then we have facility projects to be reauthorized, which includes the city HVAC systems, renovation for all the buildings, or I'm sorry, to have new HVAC systems updated, more energy efficient, installed in our city buildings, city-owned buildings. So that's $6,411,215. Park projects, which includes our Anderson's Corner Park development, the dam ruins, the Memorial Garden out front at City Hall, which but also includes the Hometown Heroes banner program, park improvements, and the Riverfront Park extension, totaling the total for the park category is $6,314,706. Then we have the infrastructure, which is streets and alleys, sidewalks, and curb and gutter, the placement of sidewalks where there aren't currently any sidewalks. So again, reauthorized funds is $4,266,146 for a total reauthorization of funds of $27,707,336. Moving on to new funding. Oh, I'm sorry.
Stuff you was reading wasn't shown on the screen. You got Communication Studio redesign shown on your screen. Things you was reading for is not on the screen, just for these. Anybody else see anything different?
You can't see the spreadsheet anymore?
The only thing that we can see on your screen is Communication Studio redesign.
Yeah. I thought somebody else was going to point it out, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I ain't you was reading and it wasn't there, so yeah, just for the public.
Oh, all right.
We
okay.
have it ourselves, but
All right. Well, if that's the case. So my intention was that we would then move on to new funding requests. So there has been a request for communications from the Department of Communications for a studio redesign for $250,000. Those will be general operating budget funds. As I discussed during my operating budget presentation, the PEG funds have declined. And so there is that operating transfer to the CIP of $1,043,009. So this would be included in that funding. And I could ask Ms. Williams if she would like to describe that project and how that will move forward.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Director Saylor, for introducing this. Good afternoon, Mayor Sitnor, members of the council. So the Department of Communication, as Director Saylor has mentioned, is requesting approval for the CIP project in the amount of $250K. The current studio, as we know it today, is really built on outdated infrastructure, including old wiring and lighting that limit what we're able to do and how well our content looks overall. Under the current configuration, we're restricted in the types of shows that we produce, truly making it harder to attract a variety of guests that include local residents, organizations, businesses, and resulting in programming that often looks the same. Perhaps most importantly here, in addition to that, the studio lacks the significant lighting to properly support the diversity of the individuals that come our way, which forces our staff to frequently have to climb ladders to do a manual adjustment of the lighting, creating truly an unnecessary risk, safety risk, particularly for those who are untrained in this area. We reached out to Washington Professional Systems, who's very familiar with the city of Laurel. They were the company that did the work for the chamber redesign, and we have been working with them consistently on various things throughout at least my time here. And they actually recommended to us a company by the name of Erector Sets. Erector Sets is truly one of companies that's close by that actually completes the work that we're looking to have done. The price of $250,000 includes the construction materials, fabrication, labor, delivery, and installation. It would generally take about 10 weeks to complete. And it will come equipped with everything that we believe is important for us to move forward with continued programming on behalf of the city of Laurel. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding that.
Any questions or from the council on this, Councilman Simmons?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. For that new studio layout, how long would you expect it to, have useful life? Is that 5 years, 10 years from that new equipment?
Well, I believe at least 10 years for sure. The studio that we currently have, again, I'm in my second year here, so I don't know how far back that studio goes, but I can definitely find out, how old the current studio is. But the studio that we are asking to be designed for us really brings us up to date with studios that we would find generally in public television and beyond. And I think it would definitely satisfy our need for many years to come.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes. I see, I'm sorry. Mhm.
Councilman Mills? Sorry, man, I was on mute.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. President. So Director Williams, I was just wanted to know, like, that studio is fairly old. I remember, when they redesigned, that's back in the days when I was a cameraman there, and but it was, I think, basically went from analog to digital. But what is that next step from digital now that, I mean, we're still in that digital age right now?
Yeah, so we're actually talking about the internal design of it. So right now, as you're aware, we have two sets that we operate from, the interview set and the others, the news desk. And so we're talking about completely redesigning that area as well as the lighting structure, which again is most important across the top so that we don't have to daily do climb ladders and change the lighting to best fit the guests who are part of our shows on a daily basis. And so I think you're correct in terms of digital when we think about inside the control room. But inside the actual studio itself, we're talking about a newly redesigned modern style studio.
So are you requesting just to redesign the studio or all of it?
Um,
Did-
well,
Mhm.
well, we've done quite a bit of designing within the control room itself. So this request is for the studio and everything outside of the control room, that area where our technical director makes sure that shows or meetings like this get on air. We've done, to my understanding, again, I've been here for 2 years, but to my understanding, that area has already experienced levels of upgrade. And so now we're trying to move from that area into the control room into the studio so that we can improve the lighting situation, the aesthetics of our studio and ultimately our presentation of what we have on Laurel TV.
And my last question is, where did that dollar figure come from?
The dollar figure came, we asked it was an estimate that once we got the recommendation from Washington Professionals, we asked the gentleman to come down to take a look at our studio. We talked about kind of some things that we wanted to see in the studio. They went back and drew out kind of a map of what a studio could look like, showed us several different options. And the one that I was led more to is what he proposed an estimate for. So I've been sitting on this estimate for several months now, knowing that it wasn't in last year's budget. And so for me, this was a good time to present it. Now I will have to go back to him and say, hey, I've put this forward and get it updated, but I don't anticipate it being more than that. And certainly we can stay within budget.
And so my last request is, as far as being government officials, and like I've worked state government, local government, federal government, we always did a 3 bid process. You only mentioned one.
Yes, sir. You are correct. I did only mention one. We took the recommendation of the company that has done considerable work here within the council chambers. And through that recommendation, we did some research on the closest companies that offered the same type of services. And truly, there are none. There are, I mean, there are some that are outside of, this company is from Philadelphia, just to show you the closest company that would do a service like this. So when we talk about extending beyond that, then I would imagine those costs would increase just by mere fact of distance and location from where the company would have to travel from to get this done.
Well, I mean, we do have Breasia Studios just right there on Compton Avenue. Um, Mr. Jamal, he does sound, lighting, he does it all. I mean, why
Yeah,
wasn't he considered?
I'm not questioning offering independent services as sound. Certainly there are many sound
No,
companies,
no, no, no.
but
I
I'm talking
mean, no,
about recruiting.
he has a whole studio. I've been in there and seen it and seen his work. Um, so I'm just, I mean, because like you mentioned structure, but you
Mhm.
didn't mention like the key points where you had requested about lighting. Like if you want to remove old lighting, what type of lighting did this company mention or show you, whereas though you're not going to have to, is it LED lighting, is it, like what type of lighting, to give us the whole package?
Mhm.
Because I mean, to request $250,000, I mean, are we tearing down walls, are we building walls, or what are we doing? So that's what I just want to have a clear understanding for me and my colleagues, to just deal with this one contractor.
Sure. And I'm happy to take a look at the company that you are suggesting as well. I do know that with this company, we are talking about a full package of redesign, and which also includes like the studio sets with two main shooting areas, a 3x3 monitor wall. I just tried to pull up the proposal here. Um, Standing presentations, monitors within the studio, interview sets, and so it really creates a level of diversity in what we're able to do. Sometimes we get folks who come, they take a look at the studio, and it where we would be able to offer the skilled services, the production area, it's just not conducive to I don't want to say state of the art because we're not going that far, but certainly what people are looking to do with a more modern looking studio. But
Well,
I'm happy to take a look at what your recommendation would be.
that was
My goal is just that. Mhm.
one of the things that like Councilman Simmons had asked, was as far as, his question was like, how long do you think this would last? So if we have a goal to update or upgrade this studio, then why not reach for the state of the art so that we can be, have such a thing, but try to try to achieve the state of the art studio, but at a lesser price.
Right. Well, I can tell you,
Okay.
the state-of-the-art studio would be 5 times more the cost that I am when I think of state-of-the-art. Now, I don't know, what you mean by state-of-the-art, but I can tell you that
Well,
this is a
we're
significant upgrade of, I'm sorry,
yes,
you can continue.
we're clear with the fact of state of the art. Like why not? Les Brown said one great thing, a statement back in the days. He said, if you're gonna try to reach for the moon, then and you
Mills, you cut out.
strive for that,
Okay.
we could, move forward from there. Thank you
All right.
very much.
Mr.
If you have-
President,
We have,
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I don't have a way to raise my hand. I apologize, but I just want to offer that we will, of course, in my office, work with Director Williams and her team on the bid package and the bid recommendation that would come back to you, of course. Even though if it were approved in the budget, we know we still need to come back before you
Sure.
with the proposal and bid recommendation to award to the vendor, whoever that may be. I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Councilwoman Clark, and then I saw Councilman Cole's hand, but it looks like he put it down. So with Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Williams. I just have a few questions. Do we rent out the studio and receive revenue for anyone using it for either interviews or additional services?
We do rent out the studio.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I know that we rent out the podcast. Well, is it podcast
The
area?
podcast room, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Okay. I didn't know if
both
we did the studio as well.
both of those areas are rented out.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just looking at my notes. You said that we did redesign the control room with the, well, let me ask this. Is there equipment or are there necessary items that are the top of the list? In the case that the budget is discussed in a different way, are there things that you absolutely need? Are there things that could be a phase 2? Just to understand, or is everything necessary in order for it all to work together?
Well, that's a great question because I think, when you start piecing things together, when you think about, a full production, you may find yourself, having, let's just say, one great camera and one camera that is on its last leg. And so we've taken that approach with the cameras, now that I think about it, to your question, of having these cameras phased out over a period of time. And where it has worked for the first year, we find ourselves with the second camera we've completely lost. So we've had to speed up that request and implementation of getting all those cameras at the same time so that things could function and work well together. We're not at a loss for the equipment. So of course my first position would be to allow us to do it all at one time. That would kind of be similar to saying, for the chambers redesign that, we do the microphone, but we don't do the TVs that you see in the chamber. And it just would not, I think, make for a good opportunity to upgrade our studio all at one time. Certainly, if I had to piecemeal it together, I would definitely want to see all of the lighting structures and everything taken care of so that we can reduce the risk of employees, climbing these ladders on a daily basis, and certainly seeing what type of redesign we could possibly do without adding additional set options. But again, the request is for us to be able to have the flexibility to have different types of programming in that would not solve that concern for us if we did it that way.
Thank you. And the chairs in the studio where the guests sit, those are on the list, right?
Of course they are.
Okay.
'Cause I
Thank
fall
you.
out of it every time. Absolutely, they are.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. It's a little touch and go for me when I've sat in them before.
For everyone who comes to the set, and that is one reason why we do need the upgrade. There's a
Um,
liability there.
Yes, understood. And my last question is, with the items that you're requesting to upgrade, well, to the redesign of the studio, are there any that are interchangeable, or can be utilized outside? Because we do have a lot of events that are outside. Because I'm thinking in my head, if you have to redesign the studio, then will you also need to do stuff for the equipment outside and for that as well?
So we are currently, thank you for bringing that up. We are currently looking at what our options are there because I'm increasingly concerned about the number of activities that we do um, outside of the studio, and coupled with that, the number of live broadcasting that we're asked to do, and our equipment in that area. We've done a good job with identifying, things that allow us to go so far. And to the average person, they may not, know what the limitations are. And so this past event, the Main Street Festival was a good example. We immediately, when I came back, I said, we have got to, fix or at least research what those equipments are that would allow us to, have really good, clean production on Laurel TV. So the monies that I'm asking for truly is for internal use for Laurel TV. It does not address external for live broadcasting, but we're still doing our research on that part, and we'll be back at the table with that at some point.
Okay. Thank you. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Clark. Councilman Cole, do you still have a question? I know your hand went down a while ago. Okay. All right, back to you, Mr. Saylor. Give the council had all their comments.
Okay, great, thank you. So moving on, we have also general operating budget funding for 4 new Big Belly disposal systems at various parks throughout the city. So that's $23,512 under environmental programs. And information technology. So there are a number of projects that are listed on the bottom of the project sheet in the budget document. Network hardware, fiber connections, surveillance camera and alarm systems for our buildings, cameras in the parks, digital signage upgrades, EOC and the mobile command unit upgrades, server replacement, meeting room, and screen sharing technology, upgrades to the police department interview rooms, and then LPD vehicle upfit, which is the upfitting of the police vehicles with all the technology that we have in the vehicles. So the breakdown for IT is, oh, my apologies. Actually, it is 130,000 in general operating budget funding, and the remaining would be speed camera funds. And I'm sorry, and fiber connections would be the 150,000. That would be from our transit overlay tax, which is the additional 3 cents on the tax rate in the commercial areas, because this connection is going from Lafayette all the way through to the Anderson Corner property. I don't know if you have any questions for Director Cornwell Shield.
Questions or okay, Councilman Simmons, I'll start with you.
Yes, and just to clarify, I know there were some technology upgrades in the main operating budget, loosely 600,000, I think it is. And I know we're doing some here. From a budgeting standpoint, is there a distinguished sort of what shows up in the CIP and the capital improvement versus what shows up in the operating?
Yes, they're a longer useful life of 7 years or more.
7 years is our cutoff. Okay, got it. Thank you. That was it.
Woman Clark.
Thank you. Just two questions. The first one, could you please provide more context on what type of upgrades will be done for the digital signs? I believe that says 60,000. And in addition to that, could you clarify on the EOC and MCU upgrades, what that is as well? Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for that question. I believe Councilman Cole also asked a question in email regarding the digital signs. So I'll start with that one. The digital signage primarily focuses on the 5 LCD outdoor signs that we have at, let me see if I can remember them off the top of my head, the Municipal Center, the Laurel Police Department, outside of the Laurel Volunteer Fire Department at the corner of Cherry Lane and Van Dusen, the entrance to Granville Goody Park, and the Robert J. DePietro Community Center. Those are used for public messaging year-round. I believe they're 40 by 60 signs, and they are, of those, 4 of them were installed back in 2013. They have reached the end of support, and newer technology, easier to manage technology is out there. Also, lower energy cost technology is out there. So our hope is that we've gotten preliminary pricing from the vendor who did the initial installs, and we'll be looking at other alternatives as well as we move forward with from budget proposal to project approval. But that will primarily focus on those 5 signs. There is another sign that is currently inactive further down Van Dusen toward the Wawa and Royal Farms. That would be addressed in this once we figure out some details on how to get power to that sign.
I'm sorry, Director Cornwell-Shield, just a quick question. Is 8th Street included in that as well? Because I think there's one on that corner.
I will have to double check. I don't recall one on 8th Street.
Okay. I remember seeing
8th
one.
in Montgomery.
Yeah.
8th in Montgomery. Let me double check that.
Okay. Yes. And just one additional thing I've noticed and residents have mentioned, the digital sign is visible, but it's not readable. It's pixelated. I don't know if there's an upgrade or something that can be done. I know you put a lot of work into finding these, but if they have some type of upgrade that's more visually clear for everyone, it would be really, really helpful.
That will be a very large focus of these upgrades, because they are very pixelated. They are a product of 2013, and well, they've lived a long life, so at least we can speak highly of the longevity of those signs. That project will also include some upgrades to the TV-based digital signage at the Municipal Center lobby, the community centers, the mansion, basically the main public-facing lobby areas that will help present more useful information to people entering those lobbies. For instance, in the Municipal Center lobby, we'll be able to display information about the current event going on in the chambers. So we'll have welcome screens, and then we'll have various other bits of information that are displayed. So that part is a much lower cost, and we're actually starting on testing of that in the next week or two. But there are some costs that are bundled in there. Any other questions on digital signage before I jump onto, or any other clarification on digital signage? Okay.
Councilman Cole, your hand's still up. You don't have a question at all?
I just wanted to thank the director for breaking out the CIP so that it was clear what was being done in there. We don't need to ask a lot of questions on that. Everything else is pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
On the EOC and MCU upgrades, the Emergency Operations Center at City Hall, the equipment there is starting to fail. We've had some glitches during activations that we'd like to avoid causing issues during activations, monitors flickering out, that kind of thing. So that will include an overhaul of that media display system, as well as some upgrades to radio connectivity in the Emergency Operations Center, and pulling in both police, fire, and municipal radios without having to use the handhelds there. And really the same thing with the mobile command unit. The mobile command unit's technology on the interior, which I'm not sure if you've seen it deployed. It was on Main Street with the Laurel Police Department. They dispatched. They have two of their dispatchers operating out of there to do local dispatch during that event. They also use it during the fireworks. You name any big event where the police bring out presence, they're using it for an on-site command station. So it has some TVs in it that need upgrading. They are largely semi-functional right now. It needs its radio connections upgraded. It needs some changes to the way that the antennas are routed. And there are a few other pieces of technology in there. The dispatch computers themselves actually need upgrading. So that total cost encompasses all of those upgrades. It's based largely on us doing the work, with the exception of we'll need to put out to bid the overall display system upgrades, because that is a much more complex and expensive project that we'd like to have a nice long warranty on.
Thank you, Director Cormosha. I appreciate it. It's helpful for us to ask the questions during the working session so we can gain clarity and also for transparency for residents. So thank you so much.
Yeah, greatly appreciate you asking the questions.
To you, Director Saylor.
So we have a project page for the Laurel Police Department leased vehicles, and the figures that you'll see here, as you approve each of the leases for the batches of anywhere from 10 to 16 vehicles that we've been replacing since 2020 in order to get through the whole fleet. These are the full value of all the outstanding leases, excuse me, going through FY30. And so, like I said, you've seen those as they've come before you, and this page just reflects all of the current leases that we have. We have one facility project, and that will be for the.
Excuse me, Councilman, Dr. Saylor. Councilman Simmons had his hand up, Mr. President.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. And yeah, just back on leased vehicles, I think there's an answer for this. It's straightforward, but I noticed we were doing a re-auth on the leased vehicles around 854,000, and then there's the new authorization around 700 something thousand.
Yeah.
Are those different 1 year's expiring, 1 year's adding, or one?
Let me take another look at that, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. That was all. Thank you.
Thank you. So the sole facility project is for improvements to the outbuildings on our Lafayette Avenue property at 114. So for some interior building renovations and the heating system, as well as electrical upgrades. But Director Bailey is available for any additional questions.
Mr. President, you got two hands up.
Got it. All right, Mr. Councilman Cole, you can go.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Director Bailey, when we purchased this building, we had talked about slowly doing improvements at this property, but now there's 400,000 in requested funds. Do we need all 400,000 of that this year, or we're just doing it because we have funding available?
Thank you, Mr. Cole. As we bought this property, we talked about building out the outbuildings. The major building, the main building for the Public Works Department is up and underway. So that one is pretty much good to go. Now we're going to start focusing on the outbuildings, the 3 outbuildings. The budget before you there for 400,000 would include to add some heating through these buildings. Currently, only one building has heat. The other 2 do not. So this would allow heat in the outbuildings for the winter months. So activities could be held in those buildings, as well as any electrical that we may have to do for this heating. If there's any plumbing to be done for any of the buildings, we have money in there. Some painting, miscellaneous work, any door repairs that might come up. What else? We have a locker room that we're going to be adding also to the main building that would allow the Public Works employees and the FMPS employees to allow them to change into different clothing throughout the day. So this money, as we said when we purchased the property, that we were looking to build out the properties probably 2 to 3 years, rather than putting all the money up front and trying to escalate the costs at the beginning. So we're trying to spread out the money over the next couple of years as we slowly take over these buildings and convert them to our needs. Evidence lab for the police department and things of that nature.
So this is just the first of several years.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We have Councilman Mills.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the price of energy rising, skyrocketing, I'm just wondering, now we have this new building, is there any talks of solar, any solar panels being applied to the building or out in the yard somewhere? Thank you.
Yes, sir. Michelle Blair is working on that, and she's working on several buildings. She as many flat top buildings as we have. So we have the one at the Sandy Spring lot, the Parks and Recreation Maintenance lot. We have possibly City Hall could. These buildings might, or actually the first building, the Public Works building, the 122 building would be on a good building for that. The other buildings are steel frame buildings. I don't know if we'd have to look at that to see if they would be acceptable for a panel on those buildings. But Michelle Blair, through her sustainability, she has been working on contractors to bring in solar to the city for this type of work, as well as additional lighting throughout the city.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the council? All right, hearing none, back to you, Director Saylor.
So then we move on to our street projects. So we have 7th Street from Gorman Avenue to Main Street. Chapel Cove Drive and Court, as well as 4th Street from Montrose to Ashford Boulevard. South Shore Court and South Shore Drive. And that will do it for the new projects. And I know that Mr. Helms and Mr. Miller are available for street project questions.
Woman Clark.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I saw recently there was a sinkhole, I believe, in the Ashford area. Do we have any other locations that may have that issue or need work to ensure that that doesn't happen in the future?
So that area is a WSC issue that's going to be resolved, and we're in contact with them right now. I can't really pinpoint any areas since they're underground and we don't handle those facilities. So I can't give you any future locations that are being bad, but there is a pipe repair project that's going on, and I can forward you the mapping of that.
Thank you. And one additional question, are there any streets that are not on this list, that have not been on the list recently, that we have received complaints, concerns about? I usually see a lot of the requests come through the City of Laurel app, and just wondered if there's something that's not on this list that you have seen, but don't feel like you can get to because the money is unavailable.
I would say Mulberry Street, and that's going to be further down the road for funding. So we're just going to make repairs in-house right now to fix any bad areas of the roadway.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. President, just one more question. I know that Baltimore Avenue is necessarily, I think it's Prince George's County manages that, if I'm correct. That tends to have a lot of potholes. Is there anything that the city needs to do or add in the budget to ensure that that can be better? Because it can be really bad.
That's State Highway Road.
That's correct. Yeah. We can just discuss with the state and put out requests for them to make repairs, but it's not owned by the city. We don't have it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Helms? All right, hearing none. Back to you, Director Saylor.
So thank you, Mr. President. That's all I have at this time on the CIP.
Right. We will start back at the top and go through each section.
Mr. President, I'm sorry. I think there's a couple other COP questions that we sort of scrolled through before we opened. Can I have a moment just to ask 2 or so questions? Thank you. And I've got a couple, I'm going to email them, but just 2 or 3, some of the bigger ones to mention. Actually, some residents have asked about the Dams Ruins project. I mean, we've been chatting about that. I do see, that amounts in here. And is that something we're expecting to happen in fiscal year 27, or is it still further out?
Yes, sir. That is currently in the works as we speak. We're working with the engineers on it now. I don't have a time frame. It'd probably be at least a year out to complete. But it's
like
going
design
through the
stage now and construction to come maybe a little bit over a year out.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to, all the permitting still has to go through the county, through MDE, MHT, the city. Once all that's been done, then the bid process begins and we have to bid it out, and then the work can begin shortly thereafter. So it is in the works, it is moving ahead. It's just taking a lot of time. And as we all know, going through any of those agencies takes even more time to get completed. But it is moving ahead and we are working towards it.
Good, great. Yeah, good to hear the wheels are turning. I know a lot of people will be happy to hear that. And thank you. I know that takes a lot of diligence to sort of see through. So thank you for helping continue the effort.
No problem.
Let's see, 1 or 2 of the other ones. I think I saw there was an increase in the multi-service center authorization from, 777,000 in fiscal year 26 to like 2.6 million in fiscal year 27. Was I reading that right, or is there more to that story?
We had the 3 bond bills from the state of Maryland. And so perhaps it's just a matter of picking up the newest numbers. But I will look into that and get back to you on that.
Sure. And so that 2.6 million here for the facility project reauth is we're expecting to put another 2.6 million into the property. Or maybe I'm I'm just making sure I'm not reading it wrong. Okay,
right,
but if you want to follow up later, we can. Yeah.
I will defer to Mr. Bailey as to if there's any other major items that need to be done at the building. But because we had funding through some of our ARPA money and financing money, and then 3 Maryland state bond bills, that is actually the balance I show that we have on hand. As far as the budget, we haven't received all the money from the state yet, but
Is this still in regards to the dam ruins?
Sorry,
sorry,
no, this
it's,
is the multi-service center construction.
Yeah, I'm on page 290 of the full budget, and it was just showing we're doing a reauthorization of 2.6 million on the multi-service center, and I was sort of thinking we were done with at least big parts of that building.
Well, I'm gonna have to look into that one as well.
Okay. Great, no worries. And then a last one, and I think Director Self, I remember see there's like 3 million some odd for the Anderson Corner Park. If I recollect, we got a nice big grant to help support that, and I'm just, was my memory serving me accurately on that one?
Yes, 2.7 million
Yeah.
in program open space and then
That's right.
city funding.
Yeah, I thought it was north of 2 million. Okay, great. So I'm really excited to see that come around, by the way, and I'm sure folks in South Laurel will also be appreciating that new park space. Thank you. That was it. The other one's also via email. I appreciate that. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
And that one also, just to let you know, Anderson's Corner is going through the same process with the, I have a call next Tuesday with the engineers on that, but it's the same process, the soil samples, MDE, all the regular stuff as well with that. And again, once we got through all that stuff, then it can be a bid recommendation or go out to bid, and then we can begin work on it.
Great. Thank you, Director Bailey. I know you accomplished a lot for us, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments? And then we'll go back to, and we'll go start at the top of the budget with general government, and we'll walk through each section, department, and you can ask your questions and comments, and we can start discussing there. So we'll start at the top with the mayor community promotion section for the mayor's office. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Mr. President, may I ask a point of information we'll do department by department? Will there also be an opportunity for any council members who want to make a general, not department related question or comment?
Yeah, we're going to go through the whole thing. So
okay, so you want to do the general comments at the end, at the beginning, or in the middle?
yeah, somewhat. So I just want to at least go through the departments. Once we get through, we get that out the way, and then I guess you can talk about the general.
Yeah,
stuff.
I can leave it till later. I'll wait for your signal. Thank you.
Okay. So, are there any comments on the community promotion and the mayor's
Mr. President,
budget?
I believe the first category is city council, not community promotion.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going off my list right here.
Oh, okay. So we're not following the budget packet.
All right, they will bulletins. Well, actually, the way it looks like it's set up, I'm not sure. It looks like yours, but
Community page on page 28, Mr. President, if you got the sheet I have. Page 28 of 116. If you want to start on community promotion, but it's up to your choice what you want to start with.
okay.
You want to start with the city council, you can start with city council, whatever you want to do.
We can start at city council. Go ahead. Any comments? None? Right. So we can move on to, let's go on to the mayor's section. Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to reconfirm that I'm still looking at the budget due to the need for a printout. So I won't have as many questions or comments today because I have not had an opportunity to visually look at it in print. Thank you so much.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, the next budget is the clerk's office after the city council office. So Michelle has them up on the screen in the order that they're in.
Okay. Thank you.
that helps me.
So, any comments on this section? No. Okay, so we can move on to the next section. All right, and we're at the mayor. Does anyone have any comments for the mayor? No. Well, under the does question on does the money you're giving the paper come from the grant, or is that from your community promotions, Mr. Mayor?
Community promotion, Mr. President.
All right, and so on the record, I want to say I did have a chance to speak to the editor from the paper, and they let me know that they are going to be operable for this year. They have enough funding to get papers to all the houses. Their problem was with when the number was a little lower before you raised it. So I'm fine with the number now. I was going to request to increase that amount, but seeing that they are fine, I just want to say on the record, I'm okay with that since I've spoke to the editor. No other comments or questions from the council on this section?
Mr. President, since you mentioned the paper, I have one question.
Sure.
I mean, because we were kind of down this road last year, and so I was just wondering, are we planning to, or let me say, Mr. Mayor, are you planning to reduce the amount for next year? Because I mean, if so, then maybe if it's said now, then they can, the newspaper could, actually prepare themselves to release, to break away from the cities, instead of having us being a backbone to their business. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Mills. I can't guarantee anything like that because this is discretionary funds. There's not essential money to put in the paper. It all depends on the budget. But we'll work with the independent paper as much as possible. But to go on record and say that I'm gonna give them a certain amount of money at this time, I cannot promise that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, they said they're good for the year, so I guess we'll be back at the road next year with them to see what the city's willing to do, and at least we can know that we didn't kill the paper, so they have enough funding for the year. Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. I haven't had the opportunity to look at the budget in detail due to the fact that I need it in printed format, but I will have it later today. However, I also had the opportunity to speak with the paper, and they gave me a different response. So I'm not asking for you to provide me with names, but they shared with me that without that proper funding of at least 40 to 45,000, that a portion of the homes and residences in the city of Laurel would not be able to receive the paper. They also have volunteers that deliver the paper to the locations, and they don't always have someone to do so. In addition, they confirmed that the funding that Councilmember Prince George's County Councilmember Tom Denoga provides only goes to the Prince George's County residents, not anyone in the city of Laurel to support that. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarified. Thank you.
No, so the person I spoke to was Kit Slack. She's the editor. That was my first conversation with her. I didn't want to speak to the paper until I seen the budget myself, because I didn't want to speak against anything. I didn't know what the priorities of the city were. So I had a conversation with her yesterday, and that was her word on record, that they're able to operate for the year.
Thank you. Yes, I spoke to her as well. So I'm not sure if we're getting different responses, but I'll follow up as well. Thank you.
I'll take the response she gave me on the record. That's why I'm saying it here for you guys. And So is there any other comments on this section before we move on? All right, to the community promotions. None? All right, we'll go on to the next section.
That would be the city administrator, Mr. President.
Okay, are there any questions for the city administrator's items? Councilman Simmons.
Sure, Mr. President, and just to mention as well, I know the budget was released publicly last Thursday. You know, I have had a chance to go through the revenue section in detail, and had submitted questions midnight last night. And then I've also been to the CIP section, shared some of those questions today, and also a couple of follow-ups. I've done a first pass on the expenditure section, but I'm not prepared for sort of detailed questions today, but I do expect within the next couple of days to be able to send some truths. So, you know, just to sort of mention, there's more coming, and sort of reserve the ability to come back at a future time to sort of circle back. But thank you. Yep.
All right. So we can move on to the next section. Hearing none.
Budget and Personnel Services, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Matt. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for this section? All right, hearing none, we can move on to the next section.
Department of Communications.
All right, and do we have any questions for the Department of Communications from the council or comments?
My comment, Mr. President, for
Yes,
communications is I believe that the goal when Mayor Mo was the mayor, that he was wanting that studio to be, you know, like of the state of the art. And so I truly believe that right now that the funding should, if not this year, you know, maybe, maybe add it more if we can find it, or, you know, next year. But I think the goal for communication should be state of the art. I think that we have a state of the art newsletter. So, you know, that's in paper. I think we should be state of the art when it comes to the studio and outside the studio. So that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilman Mills. Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did have a chance to go through our budget and was able to submit all of my questions in writings, but I don't want to go through all of them tonight. But there are some in this department that were regarding salaries. There's a 14.9% increase in salaries, adding a new position, and auxiliaries salaries are increasing 37%. I was wondering if we could get a bit more information about that.
Mr. Williams or Director Saylor, do you have an answer now, or is that something you got to reply back later?
Do you want me to go, Michelle? Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Director
Sounds
Williams.
good. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I did see your question, Councilmember Cole, and I did want to make a correction in something that was stated as part of your question. We did not request any new positions for FY 2025, but instead we did fill several positions, and one was a reclassification of the technical production director to be listed as a technical production manager. So that was not a new position. That was simply a reclassification. In FY 2026 budget, we were approved to move our part-time admin to full-time. So that's what you saw reflected there. At that time, we were denied for a full-time position for FY 2026. This year, we have requested for FY 2027 and have been internally approved approved for the one full-time communications associate position.
Thank you, Director.
Any other comments or questions?
I forgot on that one. Are you able to speak to the increased salaries of the auxiliary staff?
Absolutely. So historically, the budget for the auxiliary salaries was set at 85,000 year over year. And truly in comparison to then and how much we've advanced in the Department of Communication, there was very little, what I like to say, return on investment from the budget, from that budgeted area. Today, our auxiliary workers are critical to our department's success. We're often working, well after hours, and it's those auxiliary workers who are tasked to cover those events, and then consistently for weeks and weeks and weeks at times, events over the weekends, multiple events over the weekends, and then we have meetings that last longer than an hour, and so those just kind of add up. We requested the additional budget because we saw where our standing budget wise, where we are right now, and that need to add a few extra dollars to get us through this year, giving the increase of the work that we're doing. And so I decided that I would make the request for the additional funding so we wouldn't find ourselves in the same position next year as we are this year, given the workload.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mills.
Thank you, Mr. President. While we have Director Williams on, I just had one question pertaining to training for your staff, because when you as the term that county exec use, Brave Boy uses, elevate. We're trying to elevate this studio here. So in order to elevate the equipment, we don't want to move too fast. I think it should be level. Whereas though if you're elevating the equipment, the training needs to be elevated as well, so that we don't have individuals using equipment that they're not familiar with. Thank you.
Yep, totally agree.
Councilman Simmons.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Question is, in terms of for communications department, is there a way as a city that we measure engagement on, for instance, on the broadcast and things like that? As much as I like to think our meetings are super exciting, do we have an idea of the sense of how many people that and things like, again, like the Main Street Festival that we were able to share? Do we have some idea of the numbers of people that are tuning into the station or watching it later, et cetera?
So at one point, thank you for that question. At one point, early in my year, there was something called the Nielsen ratings, and people would get these boxes that they could attach to their televisions, and we could see, exactly who's watching what at what time. We do not have that here. What we are able to gauge is how many people actually watch meetings over meetings or events over events. I can tell you, and it's not from Laurel TV per se, but like our YouTube channel or, other things, our Facebook pages where we've loaded these shows and clips. I will tell you, our Main Street Festival, when I checked on Saturday, they were well over 600 plus people that were watching on Saturday. And that's just a live broadcast. So imagine how many people would then go back and kind of take a look at it, because it's up on YouTube and it's going to rerun, and people will it'll pop up in their feed or something. And so I wish there were a better way to get you accurate numbers, but I am of the mindset that when as they say, if you build it, they will come sort of thought process. So if we create good programming and we market it well, and we let the community and the businesses and residents and organizations and all be very deliberate and intentional in promoting what we do have here in the city of Laurel, I think we will definitely see an increase. We already have seen increases, but we would see more increases along the way.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you. Director Williams, just two questions. One, has your department considered translation services or incorporating more translated documents for our various residents who speak different languages, and also just translating? I know that we have Spanish, but we have more residents that have also expressed or shared questions about translation with documents that they may not understand as well.
Sure. And thank you for bringing that up. I should have mentioned that in one of my earlier comments, but yes, part of the auxiliary budget is to make sure that we identify a dedicated individual that can do those translations. I've heard from the mayor several times about wanting to make sure that all sectors of the communities are able to receive information. Other departments like Laurel Police Department, Department of Public Works, they've also openly expressed the need for clear, consistent translation, especially during critical situations, so that the community is informed in a timely manner. And so that is definitely one of the areas that, if approved, this auxiliary budget would cover someone who could manage that.
Thank you. My second question, you mentioned front desk coverage, and I'm not sure if this is under your purview or not. Some residents have shared that at different times they call, but no one picks up. Do we need additional coverage at the front desk? And will some of this budget go towards that to ensure that we're responsive when they call?
So for me, that's pretty loaded. We definitely receive a lot of calls at the front desk. And our front desk receptionist, between calls for the city, between calls for passport operations, she is definitely juggling a lot of incoming calls. So oftentimes, and I don't know how often, but I'm trusting in what you're saying, and I see Councilmember Cole shaking his head. So at times when you experience that, the phones are always manned. She's always there, but we do have this juggle, if you will. If she's not there, then we have to pull someone else from in the back, another employee that takes away from the role that they are assigned to do. So there is a constant juggling act with coverage for the front desk, but that does not mean that the front desk doesn't go uncovered at any point.
Thank you. Have we considered a backup? I know many municipalities and just corporate businesses may have, if the front desk administrative professional cannot pick up, it may go to an automated service where they can press a button and it'll direct them to the department that they're trying to reach, just so we have consistent response times.
I have not looked into that, but thank you for that recommendation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Councilman Simmons.
Yes, just to pick up on a theme Councilwoman Clark mentioned regarding the Spanish language one, it is something I think I learned in the process around the paper too, that I think it was the City of College Park with their paper, they were actually expanding coverage in order to add multiple sort of Spanish language pages to the insert that the city provides in that paper. And I thought that might be something worth at least considering or thinking about to really leverage that paper again, since it sort of hits every household. I have seen some Spanish language translations we have put in there, which is great, but perhaps there's an ability to enhance that to the next level, just to put that into the mix for something to think about.
Thank you.
Any other comments on the budget for communications from the council? Hearing none. Thank you, Director Williams.
Thank
We
you.
were going on to Department of Economics and Community Development. I know there should be some questions. So am I hearing Councilman Simmons?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I guess I want to take a minute, so if indulge, if you will, to talk to maybe one of the elephants in the room for the budget this year. Folks may be aware there's basically a fully new $1 million budget line item in the ECD department. That was a complete surprise to council and myself that we only saw for the first time towards the end of last week, barely 6 days ago at this point. From my perspective, nowhere has the mayor's office previously made a case for this $1 million project to residents. Nowhere was council even let know that it was coming, much less ask their input on it. It doesn't even appear in the cover letter of this document that we're looking at, the 3-page opening letter to this, yet it's the 4th biggest expenditure in this budget, and one that's entirely out of left field. The other large items are the finance department and police department comp, our annual pension contribution, and the red light ticket costs. So it's basically fully 2% of this budget, of the $50 million budget all by itself, and would represent the largest single grant our city has ever issued. And it also represents a significant shift in our city's financial model. So to me, this is not how we do things in Laurel. And while I'm reasonably confident it isn't the case, I can't help feeling it's coming in a back door and trying to fly under the radar. To me, there's a lot to discuss about this one line alone. Essentially, it ties back, just for folks who may not be aware, to $1 million in interest income that the city smartly earned on COVID funds that we now have free and clear to direct how we see fit. I think some of the smart questions we should be asking is, how do we best use this $1 million? Why have we decided against investing in our infrastructure, whether it's Main Street enhancements we say we never have the money for, or handicap adaptations around Good Park, whether it's COLA increase for police and city retirees we haven't been able to afford, whether it's fixing the city's historic foundry building that's falling apart and provides an irreplaceable touchstone to Laurel's beginnings in the 1800s, or even just paying down our debt and saving on future interest costs. At the end of the day, these are the residents of Laurel's funds, and their people and their representatives should have been invited to the table to talk about how to best direct it. Done right, that conversation would have already been done, and we'd be much further along. As it is, we haven't even started. This is the first time tonight. There's also questions in my mind, even how the mayor proposes to use these funds as a temporary 12-month rent subsidy program where 100 people will get $9,000 over a year to subsidize their rent, after which the money is gone. Housing affordability is certainly an issue, but it's not clear to me that this is the most effective solution for the investment. Council first received a rough sketch of the program after close of business Friday. And to my reading, there's some good things in there, like financial literacy education, but the qualification criteria is still in flux. I'm seeing a 20% cost to administer the program, which is above average for these types of programs. And I'm trying to clarify how we're achieving the long-term ability to accomplish housing for the people we're purporting to support, and whether that's being actually accomplished by the time the $1 million is spent. Sort of 2 last topic areas, and I'll close. Not to mention, in my opinion, we'd be outside our wheelhouse. These types of programs have not been the purview of municipalities of our size. We help where and in ways we can to support our rich network of nonprofits and organizations, but the purview of municipal government of our size is to pave the streets, pick up the trash, maintain our parks, keep our residents safe, and we're out of our lane when we're going deep into social services, which is a county, state, and federal thing. Not to mention we're duplicating taxpayer resources inefficiently. So just by comparison, PG County has a $5.4 billion budget. Roughly 200 million of that goes to social services, which is 4 times the size of our entire budget on social services for PG alone. Maryland has a $67 billion budget, roughly 10 billion that goes to social services. The US has a $7.4 trillion budget, and around 60 billion goes to Maryland social services. So taxpayers fund these programs already. We lobby to bring those resources to Maryland. Our District 21 brought us 91 million this past Maryland state session. And I suggest we'd be remiss to try to change ourselves into covering something our real estate taxes were never intended to cover and our budget wasn't intended to support. So in closing, I ask us as a city to pause, to back up a step, and to do this the right way together, rather than barrel this through from left field. It needs to be given appropriate air, and our already compressed 24-day timetable for the budget is not the time to be bringing this up for the first time. My recommendation is that we bank this money for our conversation this summer to address all the regular budget items as usual in this process, so we can keep the lights on. And anything other than that, in my mind, is a disservice to this body and to the people of Laurel. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. Simmons, your comments, I disagree with your comments, but you have a right to say those comments. One of the things that I did as a mayor is that before I do any programs, I talk to my department heads to make sure the city, all the essential services taken care of. And all the essential services was taken care of in our city, with employees getting a pay raise, like union pension being funded, pension plan funded, everything was taken care of. And one of the projects we always try to do is find ways we can help people. That's one of the reasons why I became an elected official, to help people. And this is a program we can help people. We receive interest money from ARPA money that's designated to help people. I did not talk to you all about it because I was still working on the process. And once I got the process together, we was presented before the council, what we're doing tonight. I think it's enough time for you to look at it. We've been working with Laurel for this project since 2021, when we first went through COVID. They spent over $1 million of our money from the American Rescue Plan. And so this is something that's going to benefit the citizens. Laurel is a credible organization that's going to identify 100 people in our city that's impacted, and we're going to help them out. I think it's a great program. I don't think it's no backdoor program. I think it's a forward-thinking program, and I think it's something that the council would be proud of, and the city residents be proud of. That we're looking out for people that are low income and helping them out. So I'm looking forward to present this program with you. It's a great program, and once again, the council has the final say on everything I propose. But I think this is a great program, and I think the council should favor it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, one question for me. Program, as far as the parameters and what, how it will be administered through LARS and all that. As far as the rules, I remember back when we did the ARPA funds and we administered the first $250,000 to help with rental assistance and all that. We kind of had a say on who and what was going to be, basically who's going to receive. And is there anything, has that kind of fully been identified? And even so, when it does, do you see this coming back before us to do a resolution to approve of how it will be administered? Even though he's saying, yes, we're earmarking this technically for this program, I think that will make the council comfortable knowing how it's done. Again, in I guess the respect of having a hand in it, because even when we did the ARPA, yes, it was you and I, but it was the whole council that got to have a say, of course, and of course Mayor Mo. And when we made that committee, in which you sat on the committee for the council, you would bring back that report to the council, letting us know how everything was being spent. So what would the structure of this look like?
I created a program, Mr. Councilman Simmons. Councilman Stewart, you voted for it. I created a program. There's two ways we can do the program. It's the community promotion program. We can put the money in community promotion as grants, like we do all programs. And this is the way we decided to do it. We decided to put an economic development budget, like they do any business program, grant program right now. So all grants go through the economic development in the budget we have right now. That's the way we can do it. That's the way we chose to do it. Director Saylor, our financial director, advised us this way to do it, and that's why we presented for the council that way. It could be I don't think it needs to be a resolution. I think it's a grant.
So, but with the contractually with them administering it, isn't that technically like a contract?
But they will sign we will have a MOU with Laurel, like we did with the other programs we have. The American Rescue Plan, we have a MOU with them, and it's going to be signed. So yeah, we'll work it out. They have a whole plan for us to go by. Our lawyer will review the contract once we get it all settled, and shouldn't be no issue. Like the same thing we did with the American Rescue Plan. Laurel's been working with this program with the city for the past 4 years. Anytime we did funding for housing, utility assistance, food assistance, we use Laurel's. They give us an invoice, and every month we pay them back on what they spent.
Councilman Cole, then I'll go to Councilwoman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. President. On that, Mr. Mayor, you had responded back, as you just mentioned, that this would be a grant, that once council votes on the budget, there is nothing further coming before us on this program. I as Mr. Smith just mentioned, believe that this is more of a contract. I think we could put this out to bid. Many nonprofits could be working on this. We have our own nonprofit down at the Multi-Service Center, but maybe they can have less overhead costs of stuff that they need to keep out. We just want to make sure that we're being open and transparent with our residents and not pushing this through with just a one line item in the budget and giving it away.
Feedback off your
Hold on. Let me answer Mr. Cole's question.
Before you answer him,
No,
though, I want to say, hold on,
let me-
Mr. Mayor. Before, just to piggyback, I'm not saying that I don't think Lars isn't fit. I mean, even though you're saying you would have bid, I'm not saying to take it away from them at all. I just want to make sure that the council, you know, again, has to say on how it's being administered, making sure it's administered to those in need if it goes through.
All right.
But back to you, Mr. Mayor, then I'll go to Councilwoman Clark.
I think there's a lot of contradiction going on with this council, right? Because we don't have a bid for the Laurel Independence, right? And we didn't have a bid when we first gave Laurel some money for ARPA. You know, we chose them based on the credibility they have working with the city. So we can't have it both ways. You know, we don't have a bid for everything that we do. And so the past 4 years, we've been giving Laurel some money. We never bid for it. And so that's why we was able to do that. We trust them, the department working with us. So I continue to want to continue to work with them as well. So we can't have it both ways. We can't say do it this way and then hold us accountable for something else. The Laurel Independent, we spent $60,000 in the past 4 years. We never put a bid out for them.
Clark.
Thank you, President Smith. So I have a question, but I appreciate Councilmember Adrian Simmons' comments. It helps to think this through. I do understand why the mayor may have thought of creating this program. There are people, due to the administration changes, that may need help and assistance at this time. And I think it's of value. However, I do agree with Councilmember Simmons that we have to think this through. My question is about the fact that this goes through the Economic Development Department, specifically when we voted to allow the departments to split so that human services could focus on human service. And this is a human service. So I'm trying to understand, or if someone can clarify why the Multi-Service Center would not be a part of this proposal when they focus on the human need.
Great question, Councilman Clark. Economic Development does housing. So we just voted on a housing bill. When developers come in the city, how many houses they have to build. And apartments, when developers build apartments, how many affordable units they have to have. So all housing goes to ECD. You know, the Human Services is more for social services. And at this point, we look at this as a housing thing. As the Economic Development Department been in charge of the past 8 years since I've been on the council and now as the mayor. So we wanted to keep it under their platform because of what they do right there.
Thank you, Mayor. A question, just a follow-up question. So if it's because it's housing, then should it be created as a grant internally for the city of Laurel and not go to Lars? Because that's human services as well, or social services.
Once again, Councilman Clark, Lars has been a partner with the city since we went through COVID, and we automatic chose them. When I created that emergency Laurel service thing, Mel Mo at the time said we'll let Lars fund it. And they not funded, but supervised. Because I wanted the city to supervise it. And he said, we don't have enough trained personnel to supervise it. So he chose them. And since we got the merger, then after that, we got money from the government and we gave money to Laurel. We didn't, you know, we chose them to be the provider of our program. And they have been done that. And they had, we managed over $1 million for us to this day, from 2021 to today, over $1 million. And they have many services. So I'm confident, you know, they can do the job. They are a priority service that can do this work. And like I said before, I mean, this is great. This is going to be great for the city. It's going to be great for you all. When you vote on this, this is a great program. This is something people need. The governor is charging higher tax for admission, driving license, food is going up, water is going up. Everything is going up. It's going to affect people. And as the mayor, my job is to be a forward thinker and how I can put people in a position to help those individuals. And with an organization that's going to train people, financial literacy, going to have several other programs buying into this program as well. I think you guys are looking at it in a way that's, you should be looking at it as a forward thinking way. And that's what I am as a mayor. That's why people elect me to be the leader of the city, to be a forward thinker. And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking charge, being a forward thinker, helping our residents out that need some help.
Thank you, Mayor Sidnor. Just want to clarify, Council President Smith. I don't think the council, or I'll speak for myself, I don't think we're saying we don't like the program or think that it's a bad program. We're concerned about the planning, the timing, the process, and looking at the full big picture. So I just wanted to make sure I clarified that statement or your assumption. That's all. Thank you.
You're very welcome. The process is good. Right now, the timing is perfect.
Councilman Mills.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I appreciate Councilman Simmons, his comments. I do believe in the forward thinking from the mayor, but from my eyes, and when Lars received the funding, when we received the federal funding and that was given to Lars, and Lars ended up purchasing the house next door to the adjacent to where they're located at. You know, I mean, are they going to buy another house with this money? You know, like it just kind of brings out skepticism on, you know, as far as, you know, like this large amount, you know, I mean, because this is 10 times the amount that was given to them last time. And so I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, I want to clarify that they're not buying a house with this money, Mr. Mills. They're going to identify citizens as citizens of Laurel, and they're going to be paying, they're going to give them $750 stipend towards their rent. And these folks are going to save this money. So this money is not going to Laurel. They just charge an administration fee. Any organization that manages any money, whether it's $250,000 or $100,000, they're going to charge you an administration fee to do the work, because they got to have the case manager, eligibility workers to screen the individual. So the money is not going into Laurel's pocket to buy anything for their house or anything for them, but it will be a 10%. They charge you 10% to manage that. And that's any organization that does manage money for any organization.
Go to Councilman Simmons and Councilman Gold.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry.
Can I finish?
Yes, sir.
The programs that's at the multi-service center, with as far as individuals going through the program and after they complete the program, you know, that's a structure that's being done right now with the multi-service center through Lars, correct?
No, it's different programs. It's different programs, Mr. Mills. Lars is not, transitional housing is different from what we're doing. These are people that can pay their rent now. These are people, working people in the community that can pay their rent on time right now. The $750 is not helping them to get a new apartment. If they can pay the rent every day at the time right now, we're just looking at the issue that's going on and say, hey, you know what, let's make these people better in a year time. And so in that year time, they should be able to save money in their savings account. They'll be going to financial literacy classes. And then there's another program that's going to partnership with Laurel that's going to match their savings. So whatever they have saved up, they're going to match that. For an example, they have $500 saved up at the end of the year. They're going to match that $500. So that person walk out the program with $1,000. The credit be good. It's like the overall, the whole person being in a better position. What's the difference? The difference between the Laurel Multi-Service Center and housing. These are people who's working every day, who's not using their house at all. They're not losing their house at all. They can pay their rent. We're just going to identify them, help them out for a year, guarantee life income for a year. And that's what a lot of cities are doing throughout. Most of the time, corporate America does it, you know, with another nonprofit does it, but we have the money, interest money that we can use any way we wanted to use. And I chose to use it in housing because I think that's a critical need right now, and folks are going to need that. And so that's what I chose to do.
So let me interject. So I believe, now you said that you're, you know, being forward thinking. So let's put it, because your answer just now, this would be, that's more so reactive instead of proactive. Like the program, and just hear me out. Just hear me out. The program is to help people get on their feet, but this would be that money right there to me is being proactive. It's a program that we have. It's a structure that's already being implemented, and I mean, to help these people to get on their feet instead of having someone who's already on their feet, you know, to giving them funding. You know, like, I mean, you know, come on, let's be proactive. You know, with this
I'll
money.
answer your question, Mr. Mills.
Yeah.
There's several ways you can do a lot of things, right? But 40 to 50% of people's income is on housing, and therefore they struggle with paying other bills as well. You know, people have a family, got kids, they got child care, they got car insurance, they got groceries, they got a lot of things that's going on with them and the income they're making. So we're targeting a certain income at Prince George County, AMI, Prince George County, 30 to 80%. So we're having a mixed class of people. I understand what you're saying. Yes, we want to help people too, but we also want to help people that's struggling every day to pay that rent, to keep the lights on, and keep food on the table. Those individuals also, they just paying rent, they don't have anything else to do. There's a year of time, we want to put them in a better position. That's the whole goal.
I got you. I think that you can maybe split the funds and help both parties. Thank you.
Councilman Simmons, I believe you were first. Then I'll go to Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, and just to clarify some points too, in my mind, this is not a referendum on whether or not people need help with housing affordability. I think that's true, and I've been supportive of many of those programs. And it's not a referendum in my mind on the integrity or quality of the LARS program. We all know that you do great work. Primarily, what I'm having difficulty with is this is not the discretionary money of the mayor's office. This is the money of the people of Laurel, and they need, and their representatives need to be part of this conversation. And this is $1 million. It's not just something that we're giving $20,000 to this nonprofit or $10,000 to that one or $30,000 to this one. This is $1 million that we as a city have a chance to ask some questions, think it through, and figure out what is the best way to direct it. I mean, an example of what I'm describing is as well, like I'm hearing terms being used like memorandum of understanding and grant. Those are two different things. Like the structure around this needs to be thought through further, in my opinion. Those are two very different things. And if it's a grant, then we also, as the grantor organization, have the ability to define some of that criteria around it. And certainly at this dollar level, I think we should be defining that criteria. So again, I just want to clarify some of those points. And again, in my opinion, this needs to be given time for us to talk through and air. And I don't believe this, next 21 days is the time to do this when we're trying to take care of other things. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two questions. One of them is actually about the budget. The way that this was presented in the budget is 4 units of $250,000. Does that mean that it'll be given once a quarter and not in a lump sum?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And then my other question goes into whether this is rental assistance or guaranteed basic income. That was in some of the documents that it showed up. And then you had just mentioned it, that this will be helping people that can already afford their house, but this is just helping them save more money. My question that I had sent an email over the weekend was whether or not the people that would be receiving these funds would have a requirement to stay in Laurel, or do they receive this money for 1 year and then do they have the ability to go somewhere else? So are we investing in our city, or we're just investing in people that live here temporarily?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Cole. And I think the restrictions that, that I answered the email, there's a lot of restrictions. I don't want to be restricted of individuals. It is a guaranteed income, and it is for people who can afford their rent right now. But like I said before, people got 40 to 50% of income on rent. They had nothing else left. And this is to put people in a better position at the end of the year. And this is something that mayors throughout the United States was doing. And most of the time is done through a corporate America or some millionaire that has tons of money to give away. This is money that was accrued from the American Rescue Plan interest. So and it's not, and we can use it either way we want to use it. And so I chose to use it in the housing because we have, once again, all our bills are taken care of. We have good credit. We're not in debt that we can't pay our bills. This is something that we don't get a chance to do this all the time. So I really want to take advantage of it right now because it's something I think is very important and people are going to benefit from it. And I think a lot of citizens will support this. Lars is on board with it. She talked to the Speaker of the House. The state is on board with it. So Councilman DeNova is on board with it. There's a lot of organizations on board with it. And I felt that I don't think I blindsided you all. I think it's something, a process that I'm getting everything together. And then I present it to the council like we presented tonight. And that's what we do. We have debates on it. You talk about it, and then you decide how you want to go forward or not. But it's not the blindside you, and it's enough time to do that. It is a big investment, but we already spend. Laura's already. We spend $1 million on them. We gave $1 million already from the American Rescue Plan. They managed that, and folks are getting help. And so I see them doing this for us as well. So, but this is what this is about. This is you ask the questions now, and at the end of the day, you have the decision to make. And I look forward to your decision. Once again, I think this is a great program. I think you guys should embrace this program and look at the benefit and how we can help people understand that, yeah, it's a big decision, but it's something you should be proud of.
Woman Clark.
Thank you. If you could please confirm, Mayor Sidnor, I believe when I asked additional questions about this program, it was indicated that the individuals would be required to attend certain classes. If they were not able to make it, they would then be cut from the program and would not receive additional assistance, including, like you said, financial literacy. From what you're saying now, it sounds a little different than what it was shared before. If people are just so they can save money, they may not need the financial literacy course. And if they cannot make it because they're working or they have to work 2 jobs, then they're cut from the program. So is it really a benefit?
I don't know, would you get cut for the program? I think that we have the laws that create the requirements for it, right? And I send that to you all, and it's constantly changing. You know, once again, this program is help folks. I'm gonna repeat that time and time and time. 40 to 50% of your income is spent on housing, and therefore some people are still struggling to pay other bills. So this additional $750 towards that rent they can save in a year time. You can see this person a better credit scores, better financial savings. So this is to lift people up. So yes, once again, these individuals can pay the rent. We don't want to identify people who cannot pay their rent, who's struggling from. So we want to identify people who can pay their rent and help them out, evaluate them over a year. And Laurel has a great plan. Like I said before, there's other agencies that's going to be involved in this program, and it's going to help these individuals out. Once again, if you save $500 a year, you leave, you get $1,000. So there's a lot of benefits to make this person whole. So we just don't want to pick a person who just laws are going to screen everybody. They're going to identify these individuals. They're going to sit down and explain the process of these individuals. And before these individuals sign up and commit to the program, they're going to know what they're getting into. Yes.
I'm sorry. I appreciate that. So will they be required? Would they be required to attend the financial literacy course?
Yeah, there will be. There will. There's some regulations they have to do, but they will have to go to class. We want them to go to class. We want them to learn about how to save money, what's important and stuff. We want all that. It's all laid out. Laura's going to end this. Once they can continue to work on this program, and it's right now, I send you guys a copy of it, but it's constantly can change. Right now, the Selborne house has been sold, but you guys might not know that or not. But all the rent's going up 7.5%. The county agreed to that because the investor that bought the Selborne house, he's going to keep it age restricted. And so the county made a exception for him to charge 7.5% rent increase for the first year. And so therefore, those individuals at the Selborne house, they're worried that they're not going to be able to pay that rent. So some of those individuals are going to be able to qualify for this program because it's going to be 30% AMI, 80% AMI for Prince George County. So you got to look at it from that perspective. They're going to be going through finance. I don't think we're going to kick anyone out. I think Laura's going to work with those individuals. They're going to work with those individuals' schedule. But yeah, they're going to have to go to the classes and things of that nature.
Okay, I just wanted to say I was told that when I asked about the program, so you might.
Who told you that?
Lars.
Well, I don't think they're going to be kicked out. It's a whole process of, we want to help people out, so.
That's why I think that it's important that we have some parameters that we agree on that to fund a program like this. That's why it's important.
It is. I actually, but the parameters are there,
No, I get that, but we as a council should agree that we're agreeing.
Have that decision, Mr. President, to agree or disagree. You have that decision.
Yeah. So, Councilman Mills, I'll go to you. Then we'll go to Councilman Simmons.
Real quick, Mr. President, thank you. Did they ever think about a process of instead of a grant, instead of it being a grant, that perhaps it can be a loan so that the money can be returned? And then if you have how many people is it? 10 people or 100 people? Well, then that money can be put back in the pot. So to help, so this process can be a ongoing process through Lars instead of just the money just going out and that nothing in return. Because if somebody can take time to take a class, then that means that they can take time and work another job. So because time, everybody has 24 hours in a day. So I mean that's just my thoughts on that. Like if somebody got to go sit in a class, they can go sit and work another job. I mean, you know, and then but also kudos to the Hispanic community. The way they used to be, as far as working together as a family, having, you know, multiple people staying in one household so that individuals can save money so that they can move out and branch out on their own. That's a process. And that's not, you know, back in the days, you know, you saw it then, but you don't see that. You don't really see that today. They're very lucrative today. So so that's my thoughts on that. That if you're gonna, instead of it being a grant, allow this money to be placed back in the pot. If you're paying rent, if you're paying mortgage, then you already know how to save. You had to save to put at least a month. If you're renting, you got to put at least a month down, and a 1 month on top of that. So individuals know how to save. So it's just that, and this is not really fair for the entire city, because if you're going statistically, um, people, everybody is living paycheck to paycheck. So I really don't think that it's fair to the whole community, to the whole city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Simmons?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, and even in just some other conversation here this evening around the program definition, there's obviously still even confusion. The program document received after hours on Friday to members of council did describe that if a participant did not attend the proper number of classes, they would exit the program. That is in that document. And I'm also hearing two things where the program is to pay directly to the landlord to support people who can't afford their rent. For instance, folks who might be on a fixed income and in a controlled rent environment like Selborne House. But it's also for people who can't afford rent, which is what was said 2 minutes prior. This is part of what I was alluding to as well. If our intent truly is to help a person, if their income isn't going to be able to support their rent after the fact because of just their level of income, then us giving them $750 a month, month 13, they're in the same problem. And we've just gone through $1 million. There's opportunity to say, well, hey, maybe we can soften the landing. Maybe we can help them through transition, whatever it may be. But in my mind, there's still more to be thought through here to be sure that this is wisely spent. Thank you, Mr. President.
So I guess if you have more questions or comments, you can send it to administration. We'll move down to the next. Does anyone have any more questions or comments for economic department, even outside of this one line item? Councilman Cole?
Thank you, Mr. President. There was a drop in the other grants that were being offered by the ECD department. So is anybody able to explain why those dropped from last year?
With your permission, Mr. President.
Sure.
Thank you. Previously, or rather in the current year, there was a total of $150,000 budgeted across 3 grant programs: the Thrive Small Business Grant, the First Time Home Buyers Initiative, and the Returning Citizens Employment Initiative. When the budget was drafted, we looked at how much had been, what grant spending had been out the door thus far. And for whatever reason, there had not been a lot of uptake on it before this budget was drafted.
Has there been uptake in it since the budget was drafted?
I would say that there's been uptick in it since we got Economic Development Coordinator Naomi Her. Since there was consistent staffing in the department, she's had an opportunity to do sort of targeted outreach and to do a lot of extra follow-up on applications we've been receiving. But it is necessarily still difficult to get people to be fully compliant with some of the terms. So we get a lot of interest in the first-time home buyers grant from people who have a Laurel zip code but aren't buying within the city. A lot of businesses are still hesitant to take us up on the Returning Citizens initiative. A lot of people are applying for the Thrive grant and they're looking for things like payroll support, which isn't eligible. So we've definitely been going through more grant applications and finding some more people who are eligible for it. But I am reluctant to say that if you funded at the same level again in FY27, that we would be able to spend that better than we have been thus far.
Thank you very much, Director.
You're welcome.
Any other comments on this section?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Mills?
I just had one question. What's the status on as far as the new home buyer program? Has anybody come to retrieve any of that?
Yes, Councilman Mills. I believe, don't quote me here. I can get you the exact number, but I believe that we have 7 home buyers, I believe, who are qualified and who we are getting grants out the door to by the end of this fiscal year. So yes, there are people coming forward for the first time home buyer grant. We are working through them.
Okay, so we do plan on having that, reoccurring for this budget here.
Yes, the mayor did include funding for that.
Okay, and we're going to continue for the Return to Citizens program also.
There's also money for that, yes. So
Okay, great.
it's a little bit reduced in the proposed FY27 budget, again based on what had been spent, but they are both still funded for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any more comments on this section? All right. We have the Department of Economic Community Development Sustainability Division. Any comments on that section for anyone? And just judging, even looking at the time, we'll definitely be taking that work session on Monday at 5 p.m. So just be prepared. Conversations aren't over. All right, so hearing none, we'll move on to Department of Human Services. Any comments or questions from the council? All right. Hearing none. For Department of IT. So we'll move on to Public Safety. Start with the Laurel Police. Do you guys have any questions or comments with them? No? All right. And Department of Fire Marshal and Permit Services. So for me, I know you guys, Mr. Selby, you said you're adding 2 full-time positions. Is any of those positions going to, do you guys have a plan? Are they gonna help be proactive with our building inspections? Or is that like a reactive thing only when we get complaints? Like how are the 2 positions gonna be used?
Yeah, we're going to have a building inspector that's going to come on to help us with some of the new developments and stuff that are going on, and a new code enforcement officer as well, just because of, the area is getting, the complaints are getting more, and we're having to do more patrols. And so it's going to help us stay on top of the complaints and the progress that the city's making with all the developments.
Okay. All right. Well, those are my only two questions. Are there any questions or comments from the council on this section? All right. Here we go. Move on to the Department of Emergency Management. Hearing none. Public Works. Are there any comments or questions for them? No. Parks and Recreation Programs. Any comments or questions for them?
I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Councilman Mills?
For Department of Public Works, one quick question for them is their news magazine. I don't know what do they call it? Like a newsletter, the programs magazine that they put out. How many is that quarterly, and does that go to every household in the city? I think that it does.
Are you talking about the calendar that we used to distribute?
No, the magazine itself, like they have the program magazine.
I'm sorry, he's talking about Parks and Recreation, the brochure.
Park and Recreation. Yes, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That goes out 3 times a year.
It's 3 times.
3 times a year based on
and that goes to everyone, every
Yes.
household.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And just, I mean, because that's a thick magazine. Like, what is the cost for that? Just the quarterly, just a quarterly cost.
I believe the last one was $6,000 for the summer, Mr. Bailey. But we'll make sure we get the number for you, Mr. Mills.
And that's the biggest issue, the summer edition.
That was a pretty big issue, and I just was wondering, why we can't do the newsletter that same way. I mean, because that magazine is way thicker, and it goes to every household. So,
and I also want to say in that we do that layout and everything in-house on that, which saves us money as well. So one of our program supervisors, she lays it out, and then she's able to save us a lot of money by doing that rather than sending it out and have it laid out for us. Over the last 2 years, it's happened. So very happy about that.
Okay, well, introduce her to the mayor, please. As I want the news, I want our news, I want the Laurel Living magazine going to every household.
Councilmember Mills, we designed the newsletter in-house as well.
And it's awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's just 2 different, sir. I think it's just 2 different types of print, and I think that saves money in that edition. Ours is more of
Newspaper.
Yeah, versus Natalie's has a much more
glossy
look to it. Thank you.
Mr. Mills, the spring brochure was $7,852. Winter was $6,202, and the fall was $5,808.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Mills. Does anyone else have any questions for Parks and Recreation, whether it's under the programs or maintenance? All right, hearing none, we'll move to non-departmental. All right, does anyone have any questions for that section? And revenue details, expenditure details. I know some of you are still going through the budget, so you'll have an opportunity Monday at 5 p.m. to bring more questions, and also over the weekend to submit some to the administration. All right, so hearing none, and then we just went over capital improvement. We spoke about that, so we just went through the budget. Keep diving into it. We'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. for another special work session before our council meeting, our regular meeting. more conversation clearly needs to be had, and we just gotta dive in. And of course, you know, we have a decision to make. So with no other business to come before us tonight, this meeting is adjourned.